Hi, Susan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, it's great to have a few minutes of your time during COVID. And um, I think, we're here to talk about a very important issue that's going to affect a lot of commercial property owners. But Susan Shelley is the VP of Communications for the Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association. And Susan is extremely knowledgeable on this topic and many other commercial related issues, real estate issues affecting California. And I thought Susan would be one of the top experts on this to give us some insight about what's happening and why commercial real estate property owners should be aware of this new proposition. So we'll discuss a little bit about Prop 13, or the split roll, now known as Prop 15, and why people should be aware of this. So to begin, Susan, I think it's important we just go back a little bit in time and talk about the significance and the importance of Prop 13 in California. So why don't you share with us the, sort of a little bit the significance and importance of Prop 13?
Well, Proposition 13 limits how much property taxes can go up every year while you own your property. And this is really important because property taxes are not like other taxes. Income tax you only pay when you have income. Sales tax you only pay when you buy something. Capital gain tax when you choose to sell. Property tax every year as a condition of keeping what you already own. And what was happening in the 1970s with really out of control inflation is that the nominal value of property was going up and the taxes were going up because the tax rate was statewide, ready, 2.67% average tax rate on the market value of property. Now imagine for just a minute, hang on to something and imagine paying 2.67% of the market value of your property every year as a condition of keeping it.
Wow.
And as market values rise with inflation every year, or perhaps every 2 years, or whenever something sells in the neighborhood and the assessors decide, they come around and they say, well, it's now worth this. And you owe 2.67 average percent of that new value. And there's nothing you can do about it except sell. That's what property taxes were doing to people in the 1970s.
Okay.
And Sacramento politicians had many opportunities to address the problem. It went for years. They liked it that way because they were getting more revenue and they didn't have to vote for it.
Right.
But people were being taxed literally out of their homes. And
Okay.
Howard Jarvis circulated an initiative several times and finally succeeded at getting it on the ballot. It was Proposition 13 in 1978. Now, here's what Prop 13 did. It said that the fair market value at the time of change of ownership was the assessed value, and it could only go up the rate of inflation or a cap of 2% per year. So if you bought something in 1980, it is not reassessed to market value today so that you don't have to pay taxes on that value today. You pay taxes based on your 1980 purchase price, adjusted by inflation, maximum 2% per year, and Proposition 13 capped the tax rate. So instead of 3% in some places, it went to 1%. And this created stability for the local governments and for the taxpayer. Everybody knows what their property taxes will be. You
Right.
can plan on it. And the governments know how much revenue they're going to get. And even when revenue is very volatile, as it is right now, and income tax is dropping and sales tax is dropping, property tax revenue is not dropping. So budgets can be created that rely on it because it continues to go up as property turns over and with inflation. So it's a really good thing for California. It's a really good thing for businesses. It's a really good thing for homeowners. It's a really good thing. Now, the people who want to raise taxes don't like it because it's a constitutional amendment. And they can't just have some trailer bill that raises property taxes when no one's looking. They
Right.
have to go to the voters. And that's what's happening this year. Proposition 15 knocks a hole in Proposition 13.
Well, okay, so hold on. So before we get to that, so okay, so that's really, so now we know the significance of this Prop 13 and why it's a very, very touchy subject among California real estate owners, homeowners, and real estate commercial owners. So then before it became Prop 13, they were talking about the split roll,
Right.
right? We've heard that term, that buzzword. So is that no longer, or people no longer using the split roll? Is that out or is that still in play, that term?
No, you can still call it that. That's kind of the definition or description of what Proposition 15 is. Now,
Okay.
what that roll refers to, the split roll refers to the property tax roll, the assessor's roll, the assessor's list of taxable properties in the county. In California, going all the way back to the 1800s, property has always been taxed the
Hmm.
same rates, the same rules, no matter how it was used. So whether it was commercial or it was an apartment or it was a house or it was a farm, property was always taxed under the same rates and rules. Well, what this would do is split the roll into categories. So in this particular measure, it's residential on one side, commercial and industrial on the other. Residential stays under Prop 13's limitations on increases, but commercial property is released from Prop 13's limitations and would be reassessed to market value every 3 years.
Wow. Every three
Wow.
years. Yeah.
Every 3 years.
So,
So a shopping mall, a supermarket, a movie theater, an office building, a warehouse, a self-storage facility, a car dealership, any commercial property, and there are some exceptions, but any commercial property would be reassessed to market value. This is an enormous tax increase. Now, what they've said as far as exceptions in this measure, they've attempted to exempt small businesses. It didn't work very well. One of the things that they didn't address is how many small businesses rent their space. And
mhm.
if you rent your space, then you are going to pay the property tax increase through higher rents, or maybe in a triple net lease situation directly. You're just going to just pass through to you when the
Mhm.
property taxes go up. But even the smallest little kiosk in a shopping mall is going to see a rent increase because of the property taxes of the mall owner going up.
Right.
And
And all that will get passed down to the tenants.
it has to. How does it not get passed down to the tenant?
And
And
that,
then once it's
yeah,
passed to the tenant, it gets passed to the consumer.
yep.
It's going to mean higher prices for everything. It raises taxes on every business in California virtually simultaneously over and over again. This is so destructive. Even before COVID, this was a terrible idea. But after COVID, to do this, when people are struggling, when hotels and restaurants and shopping malls are being hollowed out, now they want to raise everybody's property taxes.
Right.
They want to take away the certainty of Prop 13 and create this uncertainty of the potential for enormous, unpredictable, repeated tax increases. It's economic catastrophe to do this.
Right. Yeah. Is there a minimum price, Susan, that properties get affected, or is it any commercial property?
Well, first of all, apartment buildings are exempted from this measure. So residential property, forget about that. Agricultural land is exempted, but not the buildings that are used in agriculture. So a
Mm.
winery building or a dairy barn, that would be reassessed. But what they tried to do was exempt business properties that are the owner of the business owning the property that he or she is in if it's valued at $3 million or less. The catch is if anyone who is an owner of that property also owns something else, even in another county,
Mhm.
that brings the total over $3 million. Well, now they count as a big business and now they're going to get hit with reassessment.
Mm.
So it's extremely complicated to figure out who owns what
Mhm.
on every property and what else they own and in what county it is. And then there's a provision for it to be adjusted for inflation with 58 different inflation factors in 58 counties. The Assessors Association has come out against the split roll measure, Proposition 15.
The assessor.
They are the assessors. They're taking a position of no on 15. They said it is impossible, their word, impossible to implement as written. So in trying to exempt small business and avoid the criticism that it's hammering small business, they have created this completely unworkable mess that
Right.
the assessors can't implement.
So if you're a commercial property owner here in LA, for example, what should you do now knowing this? And if you own industrial property and you own warehouses and this is how you make your living, for example, owning these buildings, or even if you're a business that has a 50,000 foot warehouse valued at $10 million, right? So what should these property owners do, if anything, can they do right now before this comes to the ballot in November?
Well, there are several campaigns that are going to be fighting this. The Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association has a campaign. We have a committee called Protect Prop 13, No on 15, and donations are welcome. We're going to have yard signs.
Mhm.
We are all in to defeat this. This is very serious.
So
This
no,
is an
no
attack on
on 15 is
no on, yeah, no on 15.
okay.
Just get a sign, make a donation, get the flyers. You can go to hjta.org and click the button that says support the campaign to protect Proposition 13. Support
Okay.
the campaign to protect Prop 13. And when you click that button, you'll see the link to download a flyer, to sign up for a yard sign, and to donate to the campaign and help us. We're going to be doing radio ads and other things to make sure that the word gets out and people know what this would do and why it shouldn't be done.
Right. That's why, because I've been starting to talk to a lot of my clients who own commercial real estate. Most of them are not aware of this issue right now. Uh, they're
Tell
simply,
them to call me.
I know they're completely blindsided and then when I start talking about it, most of them are like, oh my God, Anthony, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I had no idea. So I think, that's why I wanted to sit down with you and hopefully get this message out to the marketplace and get the word out there. So, okay, so property owners could do that. Go to the website, hjta.org, help fight, get the signs, make a donation, and keep spreading the word out. Okay. So Susan, before we wrap up, who's the ones that are very pro Prop 15?
Well,
Who's
this is
Michigan?
coming to us from the California Teachers Association and SEIU, the public employee unions that want to renegotiate their contracts and get higher wages. They're always finding the government officials saying, well, we don't have enough money to give you what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And the unions say, well, we'll raise taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll have the money and then we can get it. And that's what's going on. And they say it's about funding the schools and per pupil funding, but they massage those numbers and it's not really accurate. They've said, oh, we're 48th, 49th in per pupil funding in the country, but that's not true. Those are numbers that are based on an adjusted factor for the cost of living.
Mm-hmm.
And California has the highest cost of living. Well, what's this measure going to do? It's going to raise the cost of living. It's going to raise the price of everything you buy. And in addition, it will probably cause a number of companies that are big employers in California to pack up and go. If you were Google, if you were Facebook, if you had all this land in the Bay Area and it was about to be reassessed to market value, maybe you would have opened a campus in New York City, which coincidentally, both of them did. Both of them opened billion-dollar campuses in New York City because it's a more favorable tax atmosphere than California. Now,
Right.
they're not saying they're leaving, but
Right.
they could, and
Right.
so could a lot of companies. And if the jobs go, then the revenue from personal income tax drops, and the state is worse off after this tax increase in terms of revenue than it was before. So this is completely counterproductive, and
Yeah.
it has to be defeated. It just has to
Yeah,
be
no,
defeated.
it's extremely important, and I'm with you in helping to try to spread the word on this. Susan, if people wanted to reach out to you, do you connect with people out on social media at all, or if people have maybe follow-up questions, want to talk to you? What's the best way for people to find you?
They can find me by email, susan@hjta.org,
Okay.
susan@hjta.org, or you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Twitter, and the website for Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, hjta.org. Lots of great information there.
Okay, great. I'll make sure to put that out. And so one final question, um, since we're an LA based show, if you will, I got to ask you, and are you a native? I know you live out in the San Fernando Valley, but you're from Chicago, right?
I was born in
Originally?
Chicago.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was born in Chicago.
Chi-town. Okay. But you've been out here now how many years?
Oh, forever. Since I
Forever.
was a kid,
Oh,
forever.
okay. Okay. Fair enough. So, pretty much a native. Um, Once we get past COVID and we're COVID free, what is your one of your favorite things to do or places to see in the greater LA area?
Well, I think my favorite place to go is the Getty Center in
Oh,
Bel Air
love
up
the
on
guy.
that mountain. That is so pretty and it's so restful to walk around and see all the great art from all these different eras and to remember that every era has its problems and we're still here.
Hmm.
So it's very beautiful. It represents centuries of great achievements,
Hmm.
and to be up there with the beautiful views and the beautiful architecture and the beautiful artwork, I think that's one of the nicest places in Los Angeles to hang out.
You couldn't have said it better. That I love it, and I live about 10 minutes from the Getty Center, and yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. Well, Susan, thank you so much. This has been super informative and really important, and I hope to get the word out to everybody, and hopefully you'll get some new people interested in fighting the campaign with us.
Well, thank you so much, Anthony. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks again.